Hi, these comments are for EP. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com, and I am getting ready to listen to your speaking practice test. Let's take a look at the email that you sent me. You say, "Hi, Michael. Please listen to evaluate score and provide feedback on my independent speaking free choice and paired choice response number 9. So the question here is, what time do you prefer to take classes, in the morning, afternoon, or evening?" And of course, you want to give some reasons and examples to support your point of view. Here are the speaking rubrics I'm using to grade it. Now let's listen to your practice test. I'll listen to it one time first to get an idea, then I'll listen to it again.
I prefer to take classes in the morning rather than in the afternoons or evenings. And this is simply because my mind is sharper during the morning. As a consequence, I will tend to focus on the subject that I'm learning. On the other hand, if I study in the afternoon or evenings, I would really get very tired after all the activities that I do in the morning and in the afternoon. And also, studying in the morning will allow me to have extra time for part-time jobs that I can take in the afternoon or evenings to pay the courses that I am studying.
Okay. So I think when I'm listening to this, sometimes with your pronunciation, you're trying a little too hard. You're sharper. You're being a little exaggerated in your pronunciation of certain sounds. Um, I think the big problem here, what's going to keep you in the 3 range here, is right here. Overall development is somewhat limited, usually lacks elaboration or specificity. So you talked about you like taking classes in the morning, you can concentrate better, but you didn't really give an example of any class that you took in the morning and how you're able to concentrate much better there. You said that you like taking classes in the morning because it gives you the flexibility of working the afternoon, but you didn't give an example of a job that you've had in the afternoon while you were working in the morning. So you didn't really illustrate either of those ideas in more detail. That's why I'm saying usually lacks elaboration or specificity. I think you had some imprecise or inaccurate use of vocabulary or grammar. I think you had maybe a few problems there and maybe some minor difficulties with pronunciation, intonation, or pacing. So I think my first impression is probably pretty good. I'm going to say 3.0 out of 4, 23 points out of 30 on this practice test. Let's listen to it one more time.
I prefer to take classes in the morning rather than in the afternoons or evenings. And this
Now, it's okay
is simply because
you want to focus on a certain word within the sentence, right? I get it. But I wouldn't make too many words within the same sentence a focus word. Typically, the last content word in a sentence, the last noun, adjective, adverb, or verb, you pick one word as your focus word.
my mind is sharper
My mind is my mind is sharper,
during the morning. As a consequence, I will tend to focus on the subject that I'm learning.
that I am learning, not the subject that I learning. So don't forget in that dependent clause there, you don't want to forget the auxiliary verb because that's how we form what's called the present progressive verb tense. Now, the other thing is you did not give an example to illustrate this. Watch this. So you talked about how you can concentrate better, right, in the morning. And now I'm getting ready for an example because I want you to be able to illustrate that through an example.
Um, on the other hand,
See, notice now you're just changing the topic. You're not going beyond that initial assertion.
if I study,
So you can concentrate better, focus better in the morning. But why is that? Is it because you've already had a good night's rest? You've slept maybe 8 or 9 hours, you feel refreshed, you're ready to go to class. You could say something like, for example, last semester I was taking a biology class at 8 a.m. And even though it was in the morning, I felt really ready and focused to take the class because I just got up from my 8 or 9 hour sleep.
In the afternoon or evenings, I would really get very tired after all the activities that I do in the morning and in the afternoon.
After all the activities, what types of activities are these? Participating in lecture activities? Are these completing homework assignment activities? Are these activities involving cleaning your house and doing other things? Or
And also, studying in the morning will allow me to have extra time for part-time jobs that I can take in the afternoon or evenings to pay
so you say, for example, if I take 3 classes in the morning between 8 and noon, that still gives me another 5 or 6 hours during the afternoon to work if I want a part time job. And I can use the money I make during those hours to help pay for the expensive tuition at the university I'm attending. You say something like, for example, last semester when I was attending University of California, Los Angeles, I did attend classes in the morning. That gave me time to work at the Einstein Brothers Bagel Shop from 12 to 5. And I was able to accumulate enough money there to help pay for the cost of my tuition and books. So you're not getting to that, you're not developing those ideas
the
enough.
courses that I study.
Notice how you just kind of ran out of time at the end. So the on the other hand thing, I wouldn't do that. Just start off and say I like taking classes in the morning because I can concentrate better and it gives me more time to work in the afternoons. State those points right in the beginning, right? First of all, if I can concentrate much better when I'm taking my classes in the morning. Then give an example to illustrate that. Second of all, I also like to take classes in the morning because it leaves room for things in the afternoon, and you illustrate that. Now, if you feel like you don't have enough time to do both of the reasons, there's no problem with giving one example, and then one reason you maybe you can concentrate better. Then you spend the rest of the time explaining why that's the case, and you give one or two or more examples to help illustrate that point. All right. So overall, I'm going to go with the same score. I'm going to say 23 points out of 30 on this practice test. So I think one thing you can do here, I do have a specific lesson that's targeted exactly for your type of weakness when it comes to speaking. I want you to go to Google and type in these keywords: lacks TOEFL speaking elaboration. Let me show you. Type in these keywords right here. There. See this? And then click on that link. Right there. That's a good lesson for you. Details create the big picture. Go through that lesson and then ask yourself, what could I do to elaborate more on the reasons I provide in the speaking? Now remember, this is also important for your writing, by the way. So let's say we can do two things at the same time, right? You can get good speaking, you can learn some good speaking tips, and also writing tips for the independent writing task. All right, thank you for completing this practice test.